Ladies and gentlemen, enough with the excuses. Stop overthinking and start doing. You think you need more time to think, more information to process, more details to iron out. But let me tell you something, overthinking is just a fancy form of procrastination. You're not doing yourself any favors by sitting around and wondering what if, and maybe later all that time you're wasting in your head, it's time that could be spent making progress. You're in a perpetual cycle of thinking without moving, and guess what? Nothing happens while you're just thinking. Nothing. I've seen it too many times, people who are paralyzed by their own minds, by the idea that everything has to be perfect before they make a move. Well, let me drop this truth on you, perfectionism is a killer. You'll never have the perfect plan, the perfect moment, the perfect conditions. They don't exist. If you wait for everything to line up before you take action, you'll be waiting forever. And what will you have to show for it? Absolutely nothing. The world doesn't care about your perfect plan, it cares about results. The only way to get results is to start doing, to take action, to move, even when you're not sure of every detail. And here's the thing, action breeds clarity. The more you move, the more you learn. The more you try, the clearer things become. You don't need to have all the answers before you start. You just need to take that first step. The only way to figure things out is by doing. You're not going to know everything before you act. Nobody does. The people who succeed are the ones who make mistakes, who learn from those mistakes, and who keep moving forward. They don't sit around waiting for everything to be perfect. They start, they do, and they adjust along the way. Understand this, the key to success is momentum. The power of consistent, committed action over time will carry you much further than the perfect idea you've been trying to come up with. The longer you wait, the harder it becomes to get started. But when you begin, even in a small way, you create momentum. Momentum leads to confidence, confidence leads to results, and results build success. And yes, you're going to fail. You're going to mess up. You're going to make mistakes. But here's the thing, failure is not the end, it's part of the process. It's a lesson. It's a stepping stone, not a roadblock. Stop fearing failure. Fear keeps you stuck. Failure is the greatest teacher you'll ever have because it forces you to learn, to adapt, and to keep moving. Every successful person has failed. Every successful person has messed up. What makes them successful is that they didn't let failure stop them. They took it, learned from it, and kept going. So here's what I'm telling you, stop overthinking. Get out of your head. Start doing. Make mistakes. Learn. Adjust. But whatever you do, don't stay stuck in your head, thinking and planning and waiting for the right time. The right time is now. The only thing standing between you and success is your own ability to start. So get off your butt, take action, and watch how things begin to change. You've got everything you need to succeed, just start doing. Overthinking is a form of procrastination. Let me break that down for you because too many of you are stuck in a loop, constantly thinking, planning, analyzing, and never moving. You're stuck in the mental trap of what if and maybe, and here's the hard truth, nothing gets done in your head. And thinking about something is not the same as doing it. You might think that you're being productive by thinking things through, but in reality, you're just delaying action. You're just convincing yourself that you're doing something while the clock keeps ticking and nothing is moving forward. You know what overthinking does? It keeps you stuck in a place where you never take action. It keeps you in a comfort zone where you're safe from failure, safe from mistakes, and most importantly, safe from success. You tell yourself, I'll get started when I have more information, or I'll make a move once I've figured everything out, and what happens? Nothing. You end up waiting forever because the truth is, you'll never have all the answers. You'll never be 100% prepared. So what are you really waiting for? You're waiting for the perfect moment. And that moment doesn't exist. The longer you stay in your head, the longer you stay in limbo, and the more time you waste. You're not moving forward because you're obsessed with controlling every detail. But guess what? You can't control everything. Life is unpredictable. Circumstances change, people change. The only thing you can control is your decision to act. Overthinking keeps you from making decisions. It paralyzes you. You're standing still thinking about what to do next. But while you're thinking, time is slipping through your fingers. Every minute you spend analyzing is a minute you could be using to move, to try, to fail, and to learn. Here's the kicker: perfection doesn't exist. If you're waiting for a perfect plan or a perfect moment to act, you're going to be waiting for a very long time. Even when you do think things through, it's never going to be enough. You'll always find something else to worry about, another question that needs to be answered, another risk that might be too great. The problem is, all you're doing is putting up walls around yourself that prevent you from moving forward. And guess what? Those walls are all in your mind. They aren't real. They're the result of overthinking, and you built them yourself. But when you make the decision to stop thinking and start doing, that's when everything changes. When you take that first step, you begin to learn. When you act, you begin to adapt. When you fail, you grow. And when you succeed, you build momentum. But none of that happens if you're stuck thinking about what might happen or what could go wrong. Overthinking keeps you stuck in the what ifs and the maybes, but action is what brings you closer to your goals, your dreams, and your future. So stop waiting for everything to align perfectly. Stop trying to have all the answers before you take a step. If you're overthinking, you're not moving, and if you're not moving, you're not living. Take that first step, even if it's small. Make a decision, even if you don't know everything. Stop overthinking and just start doing. The moment you do, you'll find that you're capable of more than you ever imagined. Perfectionism is a killer, and it's something we all battle with at some point. You sit there waiting for everything to be just right before you take action, thinking that if you just tweak this one last thing or get that one detail perfect, then everything will fall into place. But let me tell you, that moment never comes. Perfection is a myth. It's an illusion. It doesn't exist. The longer you chase it, the more you hold yourself back. You're stuck in a cycle of planning and tweaking, but never actually moving. And let me tell you, nothing gets done when you're stuck in the land of perfection. You think you need to wait for the perfect moment to act. But the truth is, the perfect moment never comes. It's always just out of reach, just beyond the horizon. And you end up wasting time, energy, and opportunity chasing after it. Perfection keeps you from doing. It's a trap. It keeps you paralyzed, afraid to make a move, because you're convinced that if it's not perfect, then it's not worth doing. But here's what you need to understand: done is better than perfect. It doesn't have to be flawless. It doesn't have to be without flaw or error. What matters is that you finish, that you get it done, and that you keep moving forward. People often talk about how they want to be the best, they want to produce the perfect work, and they get stuck thinking they have to get everything just right. But let me tell you something: the best doesn't exist in the perfect. The best exists in the imperfect, the mess, the learning, the growth. The best comes from doing the work, failing, learning, and trying again. It's not about being flawless. It's about being willing to put yourself out there, to take the risks, to make mistakes. It's about putting something out into the world and saying, this is where I am right now, and I'll keep improving. The truth is, the more you chase perfection, the more you delay progress. You're holding yourself hostage in a state of indecision, trying to make everything just right. And as a result, you're not creating anything. When you let go of the idea that it all has to be perfect, you free yourself to act. You stop waiting for the right time or for everything to fall into place. You understand that success isn't about flawless execution. It's about relentless action, perseverance, and the willingness to learn from your failures. You stop letting perfection hold you hostage, and you start seeing progress instead. Perfectionism also breeds fear, the fear of putting something out into the world that isn't good enough, the fear that people will judge your work or think less of you because it's not perfect. But the truth is, nobody cares about your imperfections the way you think they do. They're too busy with their own lives, their own struggles, and their own goals to be focused on the little flaws you see. People don't expect perfection, they expect progress. They expect you to show up, do the work, and keep going no matter what. And when you stop worrying about being perfect, you free yourself from the fear of failure, the fear of judgment, and you unlock your true potential. The world doesn't need your perfect work, it needs your real work. It needs your unique perspective, your passion, your authenticity. Perfectionism kills creativity, it kills progress, it kills momentum. But when you let go of perfection and just start doing, you unlock the power of imperfect action. You start moving, you start learning, and you start growing. And that, my friend, is what leads to success, not the pursuit of perfection, but the willingness to take imperfect action and adjust along the way. So stop waiting for everything to be perfect. Stop waiting for the perfect plan, the perfect moment, or the perfect situation. It will never come. What you need to do is start now, start where you are with what you have, and move forward. So the rest will follow. Done is better than perfect. And once you understand that, you'll realize that the only thing standing between you and success is your own willingness to stop waiting for perfection and start doing the work. Action breeds clarity. It's one of the most powerful truths you'll ever come to understand. Too many people sit around thinking they need all the answers before they take that first step. They want to have everything figured out, every detail lined up perfectly, every possible outcome analyzed to death before they even make a move. But let me tell you something, you'll never have all the answers at the start. You think you're going to get clarity by overthinking? You're wrong. The clarity comes only when you take action. Look, nobody starts with a perfect plan. Nobody starts with everything figured out. The people who succeed aren't the ones who had it all planned out. They're the ones who were willing to move, even when they didn't have all the answers. They made a decision to act, and through that action, they found their path. It's only when you start doing that things begin to take shape. You make your first move, and suddenly the fog clears. You'll start to see where to go next. You'll see what's working and what's not. You'll see what you need to adjust, what needs to change, and what's moving you closer to your goal. The truth is, the action you take today will give you more clarity about what you should do tomorrow than any amount of planning or thinking ever will. But most people are afraid of action. They're scared of making mistakes. They're scared of looking stupid. They think that if they act without knowing everything, they're setting themselves up for failure. But here's the reality, failure is part of the process. It's not a dead end, it's a lesson. When you take action, you learn from your mistakes, you adapt, and you keep going. You don't get clarity by sitting back and thinking about it. You get clarity by diving in, by doing the work, by putting yourself out there and seeing what happens. Only then will you know what works, what doesn't, and where you need to focus your energy. Think about it like this, you're trying to get to a destination, but you're standing in the middle of a fog. The fog represents the unknown, the confusion, the uncertainty of where to go next. You can stand there all day and try to figure out where to go, but until you start moving, the fog isn't going to clear. You won't know which direction to go until you take that first step. The moment you start moving, the fog begins to lift. You see your next step, you see the obstacles in your way, you see the path forward. It's the movement that brings the clarity. When you take action, you get immediate feedback, you learn quickly, you'll see what works, what doesn't, and what you need to focus on. And that's the beauty of it. That's how you build momentum. You move, you adjust, and you keep moving forward. Action doesn't just lead to clarity, it accelerates it. It forces you to make decisions, to refine your approach, and to understand your goals at a deeper level. So stop waiting. Stop sitting there hoping for clarity to come to you. It won't. The only way you'll get the clarity you need is by stepping out, by taking that first step, and by moving forward. Once you're in motion, the path will reveal itself. You don't need to know everything. You don't need to have the perfect plan. You just need to take action, because in that action, you'll find the clarity that you're searching for. So get moving and watch how everything starts to make sense. Success is not some magical event that happens overnight. It's not a flash of brilliance or a stroke of luck. Success is built through momentum, the relentless, consistent effort you put in every single day. It's the small steps you take, the actions you make, and the persistence you demonstrate even when the results aren't immediate. Momentum is the difference between dreaming about success and actually achieving it. You see, when you first start, it's tough. The road feels long. The climb feels steep. And the progress is slow. But here's the thing about momentum, it doesn't start big. It starts with one step, one action, and one decision to keep moving forward. And when you make that decision, when you commit to taking that first step, something powerful begins to happen. Momentum builds upon itself. It's like a snowball rolling down a hill. At first, it's small, almost insignificant. But as it moves, it picks up speed, gathers more snow, and it grows. The same principle applies to your journey towards success. At first, it may feel like you're barely making a dent. You may wonder if it's even worth it, if you're moving fast enough, if you'll ever reach the top. But you have to trust that the small, consistent actions are accumulating. You have to trust that with every effort you make, you're gaining ground. That is the power of momentum. The more you do, the more you move, the more you build. It's the simple law of progress. Motion creates more motion. You don't have to make giant leaps every day, but you do need to make sure you keep moving. One step forward, one task completed, one decision made, it all adds up. As you continue to build momentum, it starts to take on a life of its own. Your confidence grows. You begin to see the results of your efforts, even if they're small at first. And this is where most people give up. They stop when they're just one step away from breaking through. They don't realize that success is often just beyond the point where they're ready to quit. But those who stick with it, who continue to push when it's hard, when they don't see immediate rewards, are the ones who break through to the other side. They understand that momentum doesn't come from a single effort. It comes from staying in motion long enough to break through the barriers. When momentum is on your side, things start happening. The obstacles that once felt impossible to overcome begin to look smaller. The challenges become opportunities. The grind becomes easier. You begin to develop a rhythm, a flow. You stop overthinking every step and you start trusting the process. You get into the zone, and that's when the magic happens. You begin to see results not because you were waiting for them to show up, but because you kept doing the work day in and day out, even when it felt like nothing was happening. And as you look back, you realize that all those small actions, all those days of showing up, all that effort, it was building the success you were chasing all along. But you can't stop. Momentum is fragile. It's easy to lose once you let it slip. It's like a powerful engine that requires constant fuel. You've got to keep pushing. You've got to keep doing. Because once you stop, once you take your foot off the gas, momentum slows down. And when it slows down, it's harder to get back up to speed. That's why consistency is key. It's not enough to have one great day of work. You have to keep going, even when you don't see immediate results. You have to commit to the long game. The successful don't stop because the going gets tough. They stop only when they've reached their destination, when they've reached the level of success they set out to achieve. Remember, success is not built on a single stroke of genius or one lucky break. It's built on momentum. It's built on your willingness to take consistent action, to keep pushing forward, to stay focused on the end goal, even when you can't see the finish line. So get moving. Start small, but keep building. Keep showing up. Keep making progress, no matter how small it seems. Because once you've got momentum on your side, success isn't just a possibility, it's inevitable. So let me leave you with this: momentum is the silent force that propels you forward. It's not flashy, it's not instant, but it's powerful. The key to success is simple: start, keep moving, and never stop. The small actions you take every day will compound and build, and eventually you'll look back and realize just how far you've come. Don't wait for the perfect moment, the perfect conditions, or the perfect plan. Start with what you have, where you are, and make it happen. Consistency, commitment, and momentum, that's your formula for success. Keep pushing, keep building, and success will follow you every step of the way. The journey may be long, but with momentum, it becomes unstoppable.